So as we enter in the midday hour, we take a couple deep breaths in, centering into the peace and the truth of the moment. And at this moment, all is well. My name is Tim West. I'm one of the prayer chaplains here at Unity in the Olympics. And today, I am in our sanctuary, in our gathering space, holding space until the return of joy to the building, which is amazing because that's what today's daily word is. So this is Monday, May 18th, and today's daily word is joy. The affirmation that goes along with that thought or that word that we name is joy springs up from within me today. Think about that. Joy springs up from within me today. Now, I feel that joy is going to spring up within all of us today. And coming soon for the building, joy will spring up as this place comes alive again. So until then, let's just focus on the joy of the now moment. So true joy, it says, comes from trusting God. It is the fruit of my spiritual practice and my awareness that I am more than my physical self and the sum of my experiences. Joy does not depend upon the variables of wealth, circumstance, or possessions. Rather, it comes from a consciousness that creates fertile ground for joy to grow. Let's bring that into a place of understanding. You know, it wasn't the car battery today. It wasn't anything else but me that kind of stood in the way of being where I wanted to be and not where I needed to be. So I cut off my joy. I cut off my trust. But it is the awareness that's more than the physical self. It wasn't getting out of bed and moaning and grunting about the pains in my back, the leg cramps from all the squatting, kneeling, bending, and hauling. It was about my choices of how I responded to that. So pausing for a quiet moment, I imagine a fountain. So I came here at this moment to center in, and I keep my focus on something that is true and flowing. The beautiful, captivating pattern of the flowing water makes soothing, rhythmic sounds that encourage my stillness. To sit by that flowing water. I picture brilliant sunlight glistening on the water and droplets as they fall into radiating patterns in the pool below. Relaxed and receptive, I now welcome the joy to spring up in me. So staying in that now moment and seeing that which surrounds me is just a ripple of vibration. Helps me come to that awareness that it is I who name it and I that see it in my perception. I say it again, I picture brilliant sunlight glistening on the water droplets as they fall into a radiating pattern in that pool below. Relaxed and receptive, I now welcome the joy springing up in me. Now I was focused on relaxed and receptive. Relaxed and receptive. They have re on the front of them, meaning to immerse again into that place of lax or peace and receptive or being a receiver. filling up that vessel with the truth of our being. So this thought comes from John 15:11, where it says, I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. And that's how we process joy, in some degree. So I want to go back and talk about those two words, relaxed and receptive. Because one of the words I used today was rejuvenate, since I feel a little like I'm drained, like my car battery was today. And I also used the word recover this morning. So that's where those two re's came into my first thought of the morning. What is it to recover? Recover. Are we saying we want to revive ourselves? Or do we want to put on another layer of what we believe is truth? Little t or big T? Let's start out with little t. If we're recovering with that which we are in the material world, that sometimes comes along with the thoughts that are negative, such as, oh no, I'm going to cover it up with something that'll hold me back. Well, recover, if you think about it, Myrtle Fillmore did that in her thought processes. She brought in that divine light in her, through her, and realized, just like the plants, the trees, and all of life, that which is nature around you, you can bring that into you because it is as if one with you. It returns to its natural state. So in this case, recover is cover it up with the essence and the truth of big T of who you are. So let's take a moment to recover things that are not in the right mindset where we call them good. I'm going to start today with the things that I wanted to come into a place of recovery, or I want to say in a place of well-being. My well-being, my illusion is because I have not made it into the doctor that this knee and this elbow are not in perfect alignment, causing issues to this hip and also my back when I stoop. I've created that scenario. So what I would like to do is go through a practice today of how I release my thoughts and my patterns about my being. Instead, we replace it as we are here now with this being as it should be. So I like to close my eyes. And I'm purposely sitting here because above me is a skylight. And I like to see that light coming into this being. Just as I am a mighty oak. And I know that as light comes into being, that light not only warms and comforts, but it guides itself to where it needs to go, like any form of energy. As we immerse into it, we create a ripple effect. And that ripple effect goes and lays its pattern or recovers that which was already there, that its natural state of rest or being. So I bring in this light, and I bring it in through, I say my crown chakra, but I bring it into my place that I've already cleared, where I've opened up that third eye that is more powerful than that little eye. And I bring it into my awareness that light that feeds some other things out there, so many other things, also feeds me. And I realize that there are many things that feed me out there. they're all working for my better good. They're moving before me to align their perfect positioning to lay the path for them, which also softens the ground for me. Such as the path I saw Myrtle take when she walked through this process. And we bring that light in. And we know it connects to that energy of me. So we bring in that divine, that awareness that everything is feeding my greater good and combining all that is around me and in me for all to be in perfect alignment. So I take that warmth, that knowing, that understanding, and I move it down through parts of my being that I know are already feeling joy and greatness and connection and goodness, for they vibrate at 100% capacity. Something that I put a qualifier on. Ah, yes. And as I move that energy down to that first place it comes into contact with, it actually comes into contact with both hips as it moves down that spine. So it observes from that place of higher consciousness that which I perceive as being the area of discomfort. And I let it wrap around it. I envision warmth going into it, just as if I was sitting on a heating pad. And I feel the gentle touch of the one I call my healing goddess, my Annie that's out there that touches and moves everything back into perfect alignment. So I feel the divine touch on me, slowly rocking back and forth as if giving me an exam and going, oh, it needs to just move over just a hair. And you will be in a place of comfort. For we feel our way through to move it off the nerve. First by thought, and then sometimes by action. Right there. That is exactly where I'm feeling. Now, outside of me, as well as inside of me. And I move it down to this place. I place my healing hand. Outside, it is I that is doing the work. And on the inside, the work is just that ease and grace of moving back into perfect alignment. In this moment, it feels wonderful. As heat touches heat, and I move it down through the other parts of my body. And I allow the natural flow of the being of me to return to its natural state. So, in reality, little r and big R, right now this side of me is in perfect alignment. So I celebrate it with ease. And gratitude. Taking another deep breath in, I bring in that light, that warmth, that knowing. And again, I caress my spinal column as I move down. I see it, I believe it moving through me now. Coming down that back, moving through that place of discomfort again, and moving it down. And I say now down, it wants to go to the ankle. Some say they imagine with it light. I imagine with it the sensations. And when those sensations realign and become on target, I allow them to spark in joy. So I feel this coming back into the alignment of all of this. So I choose to recover it and label it. And moving up to the back of my knee, to that place that I was using as counterbalance, as the other side was out of alignment, or I called it that way. I work onto this knee. I connect to those feelings and those sensations that are around it. The tendons, the vessels, the tissues, the cells. And I command, and I believe that Spirit is moving through all those particles, all those pieces I claim as mine. And I allow them to sit in the peace and bask in their own good feeling in the now moment. And now I move back up the body and I ask Spirit to come with me. And it follows. So we rest again around my heart. For as I move past it, I see that it too needs recovery. And behind it, the lungs, it too needs recovery with the goodness and grandeur of their divine nature. And I'm the one that called the healing forward on the lungs. For now, I know they've been working hard. I know that they try to reach past the veil to understand, but also to explain and to tell the story of why life is so important. And I celebrate for not being covered up or wrapped where I cannot breathe at my own free will, where I have to go into a cadence of a different pattern that I'm not familiar with. One that tends to put me in a thought in my human form of a place of somewhat panic, when I know that it's otherwise. It should be in a place of precaution, of loving for myself, of loving for others. So I release that too. And I open up that space for that light to come in again, that divine essence to move through me again, that current and that connection. Dusting off, moving away that is other than the truth of their divine nature. And I allow it to recover with the good. And finally, I move over to this part of me. This part I call the funny bone, where sometimes I say it makes me not laugh. for what sensation it brings to me. So now I cup that too. And I bring forward that heat and that light and that love and grant permission to this lovely place of connection to heal, to align, to be in its connection with all that supports it. I so much want to call it good. I feel everyone wants to call that which they feel is ill will good. So let's start calling it that. Starting with ourselves. We start with this moment, we call it good. All things are aligned in this moment. All things know their divine nature in this now moment. I see all parts naming that contact of vibration as it comes through them and merges with them, calling it joy, calling it bliss, calling it good. What else do we need to recover and call good? For I am just one starting point. You are just one starting point. But together, as we are connected, we are a starting point for calling something forward as good. So let's call forward the health of all those that we come into mind's eye at this moment. So take a moment with me of silence. And in that silence, in your inner chamber, call forward those that you see returning to well-being. Sweet Spirit, I know you heard the names upon my heart. I see that which you've moved through the universe, you've moved through each part of the universe. And with this realization that all is interconnected and all that is you in the flow, we see all those that were brought through with mind's eye in the know. That they are an infinite source of well-being. United, I see them coming together. Maybe not on a physical plane, but on a vibrational plane. Touching one another, reaching out to one another in consciousness, but more importantly, tapping into that consciousness, which I know is you. to you in all things. I see healing of many souls. I see discovery of many selves into that place of well-being. And as we cover ourselves with that thought that God is in that moment with those people, which is a truth of their being, God is also mending the path or creating that new tapestry for us to move forward on. So as we recover that of our personal and reconnect with that of the divine, we see rejoining that which appears in front of us, a resurfacing of the paths that we're on, a return to a new place of norm, a resurgence and an emergence of new life in ways of thinking, in ways of connecting, in ways of being. So we renew with new newness, with new surprises of the divine, in new ways to realign, for new thoughts to reappear, and for spirits connected everywhere to rejoice. I start with that feeling within me. I move it to the greater circle of we, and I release it and allow it to be. Thank you, sweet spirit, for the essence of you, the seed of the new. So let's breathe back into this time and place. I'm bringing my consciousness back into this space. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day out as the sun is shining high. I wish you the best day. Go out and discover your good.